starting over. Welcome to the third episode of Korea Talk. With me is Peter, who's been on all of them, and then we've got Sam, who's joined us. Sam, if you want to introduce yourself a bit.
Hi, my name is Sam, or the ID Gosickboy. I used to pretend to be a girl on the internet under the name Anprag. That's a whole different story, but thank you for having me on the show, and I hope I can show good games and you will cheer for me.
And then our guest this week is Michael. If you want to just say hello.
Hello.
And you can introduce yourself.
Yeah. I'm Michael. I've been doing just a wide range of assortment of things. I worked with Esportspedia for a while. Worked with Pro Hype for a bit. Not really doing a ton right now, except just watching OGN and following up on that.
That's enough.
Good to hear. It's always the best region to watch. So
Oh yeah.
let's just dive right in and look at our first spectacular match, SKT versus Ku. So, is there much to say about this besides Ku seems to be not doing the best, and SKT is just picking whatever mid laner they want to play and letting Faker destroy on it, regardless of whether or not it's a smart choice.
Yeah, if it's a mid laner, not
If it's an irrelevant top laner at the moment.
First off, I think Ku lost a lot of their power, like when they stopped wearing those really cool shirts and went for like I don't really get what that fashion choice was, but
was that mainly because they were sponsored with Huya?
Yeah, I think they just decided to just look a bit more kind of, I don't know.
Oh no, I think they were. That's why they had them. Right now, I think Monty said on air they're only allowed to have like 2 or 3 uniforms, so they had to buy. I think like OGN put that in right afterwards. Like, okay, they have worn like 15 different.
No
uniforms.
more bunny ears.
Yes. Which that's if I was them, I'd be like, screw it, let's go with that one. Let's just use that uniform.
A lot of the problems that Ku Tigers have displayed, it's that they didn't have like at the start of last season. Is that like a lot of their players like have got a lot less consistent. So like Smeb is like not really that good anymore. Like he doesn't really have like big games anymore. Before he was like wrecking, and now he's like, you know, he might go even in lane if he's lucky. And like Prey as well is just not the player he was, and it's kind of sad to see. I think like his positioning used to be really good, and now it's like, you know, meleeing people for the fun of it. Like I don't really get it.
I think a lot of it too is Hojin. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, the cynical meta definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they never really had the greatest jungler before. It was mainly that the solo lanes carried, and Prey had good enough positioning and was able to go through the lane.
I mean, just like bot lane does their own thing. Kuro plays extremely passively the entire early mid game, and Hojin focuses most of the attention on Smeb.
Yeah.
But now Smeb used to get all that attention. He would carry with the pressure he got, but now it goes even. Prey, it can't carry anymore, and you know, Kuro's never been the player to carry a game. He'll always, you know, support something else carrying. And now Hojin happily lose his team the game rather than just like not win them the game. So it's a bit of it's a total clusterfuck all around, and it's really disappointing to see because they were quite an enjoyable team to watch, and now it's like, okay, they have all the problems they had before, but none of their strengths. So it doesn't allow them to do anything. They have no kind of here's how we're going to win this game mentality, I think.
Now, Wisdom is not really helping either.
Yeah, he's not an upgrade.
And not at all, I think. Yeah. He's very similar to Hojin, really. You know,
neither jungler is really helping the team do anything.
No, like Wisdom got totally dominated by Ambition in the CJ game, so there is no great upgrade.
Do you see any chance for Ku to come back and still make it into the playoff contention?
Yeah, I think.
I think they'll.
Playoff is definitely possible.
Playoff.
I mean, if it's top 5, Ku is.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I checked the LoL esports side, but yeah, they never update on OGN at all. So they still have the format from last splits.
I think it's top 5.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
but,
Esportspedia has top 5.
yeah, I should check
Mhm.
the Esportspedia. I don't even know why I bother with all esports.
Hey, they've got great articles.
Yes. easyhoon, best mid laner in the world.
Okay, so
Faker's
for this,
dead.
how did you guys think SKT played through this? I mean, it was pretty much pick whatever you want and dominate with it, but
To be fair, they played that one team fight where they just circled around Ku like really well with 4v5, and then
Yeah.
eventually
And
Martin
Faker
got.
picking up the double at the very end with the
Yeah.
resets.
They played
that
that-
was an impressive team fight.
Yeah, Bang and Faker played it so well that whole team fight, and it was really good how they picked off how they picked off Kuro with the body slam and the Kragas cask. That was really important, or that team fight could have been totally bad. And then yeah, it just snowballed. They played that the whole series well.
The
yeah, I'm
problem.
surprised Gragas. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The problem that SKT have is we're not really like sure of their kind of strength on the like at all, because in Korea they dominate, and then when they went to MSI they didn't play Faker, and then they lost.
Well,
so
that's a problem.
we're not
right?
sure how good they actually are, because but does that really compare to EDG or something like that? We just don't know, and it's frustrating. And until a team kind of continually challenges them, then we're kind of left in the dark about how good they actually are, and a team forces them to stop styling on them, really.
Well, we'll get to see that when they have to play CJ and KT, right? I mean, they haven't played any of the top teams yet, so
Yeah.
that's also a reason why they just get the style. It's because they're all playing the bottom teams at the moment. Hopefully,
Yeah,
when they play
SKT is
CJ,
playing. Yeah, they're playing
Anarchy
CJ next
and
week,
CJ next
and then
week.
the last week they play KT and Jin Air.
So
Yeah.
we'll get to see it. Then they have to that will have to show something. If they can still do that against CJ and KT, then then I think they're definitely very strong. You can sell that hard.
Well, I mean, in Ku's second game, CJ they seem to be a bit better against CJ, but I still don't. I don't know. I still don't know if I have them playing well enough with that to be able to make top 5. Like even after a second split of it, they just didn't seem. They still seem to lose significantly early game, and then
Yeah. Well, if they can short up their early game a bit, then their lane focus and stuff, and their rotations are actually still quite good. They still have that from before. That's like the one thing they still have.
They can play out the late game still pretty well, and they showed that against SKT, especially in game 2, where they got all. What was it? SKT picked up 4 kills in less than 30 seconds across the map, and pretty much snowballed up. But Q stayed in that game a lot longer
they
than
did.
most other teams would, and so it's mainly that they're early in mid game.
Their
the problem.
early is probably one of the worst from all the teams right now.
Oh, and it
Not a lot
probably
of teams in
stems.
Korea that have really great early games.
No. That's why early games are so passive. For the most part.
Yeah,
It probably doesn't help with Hojin and Wisdom for Q at least.
No. They definitely do not help.
Yeah, and in the second game, Hojin just totally lost the whole game by his invade that just gave them a big advantage, and then I don't know, it was just I don't even think Hojin would look good in an amateur league these days. He's just
look okay.
Just a terrible player, just through and through.
Yeah, that's what happens when you can't play, Lee Sin.
Showed us
He's
you
not good
can
on
play
Lee Sin
Lisa.
anymore. Especially after he changed his name, to Lee to Hojin, so.
At least we still have Eve.
Oh my god.
Eve
Eve playing Eve.
Eve playing Eve.
took them a whole season split.
Well, talking about Eve, we can go into Samsung versus Jin Air, where Samsung once again continue to improve, take a game off of Jin Air, and basically throw the rest of the series away by blowing their huge lead in the second game.
No,
You mean the third
the
game?
third game.
Oh yeah, sorry,
The third
third game. Third game, yeah.
I looked-
Second game, Jin Air won that outright.
Yeah.
Second game they got crushed.
I looked at that gold graph from the third game, and you just see like
Yeah,
it goes
it's
up,
all red.
it goes up, and still, and they lose when it's like 5k ahead. Like it's like, oh my god, Samsung, please.
And then even at the very end, it's still red.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's-
never once in that game did Jin Air actually have a gold lead.
Nope. But they stole Baron. I still don't know where the fuck they went for that Baron.
Yeah.
Where you go?
I mean, same could be said of IM in Najin.
Yeah, that's very similar situations. Don't-
Well, IM's not the greatest team, so let's not throw them in with Samsung, because at least Samsung seems
I
to
know.
be improving and taking
Oh, yeah.
games. So,
They perform well with their right side top lane, which I find impressive.
oh my
Yeah,
god,
Kube.
They're doing.
that is
Like Samsung
so
showed
brutal.
Samsung showed like good strategical play and like how they
Yeah, except that they're very
Except for
stubborn.
that,
They're very
yeah.
no, but they're very stubborn in comms. Like they had no right to still go Rise again in the second game. The first game they just lucked out at the Rise and they continued it, but Jin Air like adapted really well, and then their Rise was so useless. 5.9 Rise is not great at all.
no.
For
I'm
me,
actually
for
Oh,
me,
go
if
ahead,
you were
Sam.
to try and sort of summarize Samsung's weakness, it wouldn't be like a lack of strategy. It's a lack of strategical endurance. So they don't stick to the strategy that they go with, and that's what causes them these
Yeah.
losses. All they need to do is keep split pushing, and they were like, "Oh no, let's start team fighting." Oh, we've lost. Like, they don't stick to their own strategy well enough, which is just a sign of like a lack of kind of discipline, which is sad to see. But I think Samsung's big weakness is a lack of strategical endurance, and I think that's the kind of Samsung no strategical endurance could be a good tagline for their play right now.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
a nice way to put it, because I mean that's pretty much what's happened. They've blown 2 sets in a row, well, not including the SKT one, but the past 2 ones before that, by not playing out their comp how they're supposed to, with the game manageable, where they're ahead and they have the chance to win. So
They do the right one game, then they get beaten another game, and then the third game, when everything is going right, they don't follow it up.
I guess
And then they screw it up.
I mean that was true for the Jin Air set, but I mean like the Ku set last week.
They also had the split push comp where they then didn't finish
Yeah.
it with split pushing.
Well,
They had also
Yeah.
right side top, and they could have won that second game.
they could have won that second game if Crown could position on TF, but he got caught out like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that too. But it was a lot of their split pushing. Not they continued a little bit more split pushing. That would have won
Mhm.
that game.
I was kind of surprised that Samsung didn't run Luna against Jin Air, considering like every team bans out Bard, and everybody's like, Sweet can play Bard apparently, though we haven't really seen that.
But
But
the problem with that though is Wraith is like a pretty good support player and is maybe the team captain at Samsung. So he's certainly the most like experienced player on the team. So you can't just like not have him. But then
I know, but they've
Luna's
been
really
running
good as well.
they've been running Luna
Mm.
every game until against Jin Air.
yeah, but they haven't been
Mhm.
winning those games either. So it's like
that's true, but you can clearly see a difference with Fury's play in lane and in team fights.
Yeah.
The amount of auto attacks he's gotten with Luna, like this past split or this season so far compared to the spring, where he started to like stop almost playing in team fights, where he would just kind of skirt the outside and make sure that his team is going to win the team fight before he fully engages and fights for it. I don't know if they just had Luna in there to get his head back in space, like into the right space, and start thinking correctly. But I don't know. Wraith definitely has a lot of upside with
Yeah.
some of the ridiculous champions he can just play. Specifically for blue side, because you can pick a champion that you don't think you're going to have as red side. You can pick your mid laner, and then just be like, Wraith, play it. And Wraith will play it as support. So, I mean, that's a huge mind game you can play too, but it was interesting to see him back this past week.
And I think
Yeah.
just Samsung's problem is they have 2 good support players, a good AD, like a decent jungler, and then like an mid laner and like a terrible top laner. And people saying Kubi's improving, but I don't think he is. I think he's just some games he doesn't feed, so they win, and some games he feeds, so they lose. I don't think he's improving really. He just feeds less, but it's not a real improvement. Like he's just less of a detriment now. He's not actually an asset to his team.
His top Rek'Sai, it does help, but he's helped in a couple of games, but it's really been the stylistic choice of the champion, not just his overall play.
That is true.
Yeah.
But the problem with the top Rek'Sai pick, and I've been thinking about this, is that when you pick top Rek'Sai, first off, I think Rek'Sai is like still a better jungler. And then when you pick Rek'Sai in top lane, you have to run something like Evelyn in the jungle, which is not a good pick. So you it's like, you're shooting yourself in the foot in a way. Like, it gives you a good top laner, but then your jungler's a bit shit at that point. Who's the bigger enabler for a team?
Yeah, you pick away the Rek'Sai from the enemy team, though.
If you could get the dream draft where you take Gragas and Rek'Sai, that would be amazing.
There's no way.
That's
That's never going to happen.
I don't even understand how teams let Gragas get past the ban phase. Like, he's just so abusive.
Korea is still 5.9. It's still pretty even.
I know it's
between
still
all three.
5.9, but like other regions too. I mean, it's just I don't understand how he's not just getting permabanned. He's so strong at level 3 compared to like every other jungler in the game.
Yeah,
and he can just walk in and do whatever he wants.
There's that cheese level 2 gank as well. That always forces a flash. Like,
yeah.
Can do opposite.
Go get red, then cheese gank mid lane.
Yep.
Get force a flash. Get your blue. Come back. Kill him.
Exactly. That's okay.
And his ability in team fights to just be like, nope, and just stop it on a dime or force the enemy team to pushing a carry into your team is he's just too good all around for him. For like when they go to 5.10, I don't know if it's next week, but when they go to 5.10, I just don't see him surviving the ban phase ever again.
They already ban him a lot in Korea. I think, the moment the 5.10 hits, I think he's probably going to get permabans unless people are willing to trade him off. Problem is, with 5.10, people are willing to trade Gragas for Ryze now, so it's a bit...
That's true.
So, yeah, it all depends. They might actually be nice and just ban Ryze in Korea, but I don't think they're going to do that, which sucks.
I still think he's pretty abusable.
Yeah, he is abusable, but not very long. That's it.
His level 6 is so dumb.
The moment he's level
So
6,
dumb.
he's not abusable anymore. You have tier level 6, and you can one-shot everybody if you just have enough time to hit abilities, and they don't CC you, then you one-shot them.
So,
It's them.
what you're saying is, like, 75% snare uptime isn't quality. You mean you can't counter that?
No.
It's ridiculous.
This is them. Like Ryze and an aggressive jungler, and you automatically win if you just put a little bit of pressure on top lane. The only thing you have to do is...
top lane is good.
What?
And your top lane is good.
In Italy?
No, I meant like if your top laner is...
Top laner
Oh,
is like,
yeah, alright, sorry, yeah. Well, it's not hard to click W and E on the target. You don't even have to hit
I've seen
Q.
many people fail at it.
You don't have to hit Q, like, you just have to hit W and E, which is click ability, so... Damn, you don't have to be really bad. It's seriously not hard.
So what did you guys think of Kuzan's performance coming in for ganked by Mom?
Really good.
Yeah, it was good.
I mean, this includes the set against Sbenu, but I mean, it is against Sbenu,
Well,
so...
yeah. He picked even more champions against Spanish.
I thought for a rookie player, he played really well.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing if he gets the chance to properly develop, I think it's weird to sub out GBM, but I think this new guy, whose name's just escaped me right now, is really good. And, it's
Kuzan.
that classic... Yeah, Kuzan is the classic thing of Jin Air have 2 good mid laners. Jin Air have a good... Like, why is Trace still getting play? Can't we see Sky play? Like, I really like Sky as a top laner. Why, I thought Trace kind of got exposed in their, like, playoff games. Why is Sky not getting a chance these days? Like, Trace ain't getting any younger. He's like in his 30s or something.
Yeah, he's old, that's true.
He's too fat to wear a shirt these days. Like, give Sky a go. Like, it's...
Jin Air is all of talent.
I don't see him on the roster. Is he still part of them, or did he go to China? Because I know there's 3 Skies in China, but one's the coach. One's the old Jin Air Sky, who is not the top laner.
There's so many skies. I don't.
Because I know when Sky left Jin Air, there was another guy that joined Jin Air as the name Sky, but spelled differently. Because
Everybody wants to be.
they just need to be confusing again.
According to esportspedia, he moved to a team called Danmu Gaming, which is a Chinese LS team that is below the LSPL, so like a third tier Chinese team. But it's one of those, you're never 100% sure.
Yeah.
He could just come back at any time. Like, Korean rosters run deep, you know. Apparently Zephyr's still on Najin. Who knows why that? But
So are so many other players in Najin, but we'll get to Najin later because we're gonna dive deep into the magic that is Najin and their fantastic roster. So I mean, is there anything else special besides that Chaser is probably the best jungler in my opinion in Korea? What do you guys think of that? With his performance over this week of versus Sbenu and versus Samsung of upwards of 90% kill participation.
Yeah. He's a monster.
He looked, this week he was really impressive. Last week his score was way better, but this week he looked. I think his score and Chase are up at the top 2 right now. For sure.
Oh yeah, and then below them, sadly, is Pengi and Ambition.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget Watch. Watch has good games, yeah. That's more than Ambition has at the moment.
No, Ambition had a good game. Yes,
Yeah.
against Cool.
Hey, if we're gonna be a true fan, we need to base Watch on his play in 3 back-to-back days last year to get to Worlds. That is the caliber we can own. That is like what he needs to play at every game now. Is that ridiculous peak?
Oh well, he's not Cacao. Like, you know, he could be at the best jungler in the world. Like,
Oh god, fucking Watch.
Okay, well, should we just skip the Najin versus IM set, or what do you guys want to talk? You just talk about what you want with that series. That was
Well, I mean-
shameful to watch.
Literally, I was watching that game, and IM picked up the double kill on Najin, and I was like, great. I was like, IM can get these like advantages, and they can do something like that. And I was just like, but then they usually make really questionable calls that kind of screw them. And then immediately after I said that, they turned to the Baron
And died.
and all got wiped out. And
Oh yeah, I remember that on Twitter. Hilarious.
It was ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
they were actually doing quite well in the game.
yeah.
They finally get some picks. They can finally start snowballing because they had like 2.5, 3K. It was pretty early in the game, and then they went for Baron and they threw the game, and OQ just won. Like,
Yeah, and like
OQ won by just pushing turrets. Dude.
I was just like,
OQ won by right-clicking
Oh, yeah.
objectives.
That's
right
what he
clicking
did.
Baron, right clicking Dragon.
And then turrets, just E turrets, right clicking.
It's just like I don't know why you go for that Baron ever when their 3 main damage dealers are up with like full health too.
Yeah, and their ults.
That decision was and their ults.
I am looks good sometimes. And...
Because there's terrible
Oh wait,
internet.
the stream as well.
All right, you can continue.
so I was excited for IM coming into this OGN split. I thought, you know what, they've improved a couple of players, and I thought Tucson looked good in the jungle in the relegation. You know, maybe this team could be really good. And then they just disappointed. Like, you know, I didn't even expect a lot, and I still felt really disappointed by them. And like, I don't really get what their problem is. Like, I'm just like, can you just learn to like do something as a team, please? Like, and like Raw as well. Like, this is the 3rd OGN team that Raw has been. He's been on Jin Air, he's been on CJ Entus, and like, in a way, like Raw's not a bad player, but he's like, this is maybe a crude analogy, but he's like that girl that like you see at the pub all the time, and you know she's been around a bit. There's a part of you goes, well, you know what? How bad can it be? And then you go up and chat to her. She seems nice and whatnot, and she just doesn't really do it. But it's like, oh well, you know, it's a girl. I guess that's Raw. Like,
Yeah.
as a player, you know, like we need an AD carry. How about that Raw guy?
It's pretty true, actually.
One of the ways to do it is go rid of him. They'd probably just, you know, didn't like him. Yeah.
They have space.
Yeah.
CJ has space. Why do they need another AD carrier?
And yeah, I feel like just this IM roster like continue to disappoint me, and it's sad because I think that on paper it could be good, but it just never is. And you know what? One day I want to see IM do well, but they'll never. I don't think it'll ever happen. They've even got more funding now as well. Now that they've got that Longzhu sponsorship.
Yeah, Longzhu,
yeah, they finally got some money behind them and stuff. But meh, is that going to come to anything? I don't know. Like, it's frustrating.
Well, when it comes to my thoughts on the biggest issue I see with them is Ignar and Tucson are just not playing the way Wisdom and Tucson were playing. I think Tucson seems to be a bit too hesitant when it comes to engage, and he is probably still used to. I don't know. I shouldn't say he's probably still, but it seems like he's still used to being a backup engaged via the support.
Yeah.
Which you can really, really see when Ignar plays non-engaged supports. You can just they just flounder and just do nothing for the majority of the game, and it seems like they should not be having Ignar on anything that's not I can go in, Tucson follow up. So I mean, to me that's one of the biggest issues I see with them. I mean, the whole team itself it has its own issues. Apple has been progressing a bit, but again, he's played Gnar and Rumble well so far, so let's see if you can do anything else. Frozen.
Solely Gnar and Rumble.
Yeah. Frozen, I mean Frozen's not bad, but he's not like ridiculously amazing mid laner. He's serviceable, but you can't just have your main three primary damage dealers be they're kind of serviceable. They can play a couple champions and maybe they can do something. That's not a recipe for success. Unless people don't know how to pick and ban, or you're playing against significantly subpar players like seemingly they did in the relegation matches.
Yeah, and I feel like Apple as well. Like I feel like I overhyped him mentally when I heard he was coming. Because he got fucking wrecked in that second game. Like he got fucking his head caved in so badly. It was like this isn't even funny. Like you just lost your whole team the game on your own. Like. And then Duke's the kind of player where when he gets an advantage like that, he'll just fucking take over the whole game. It's, best top player in the world and stuff. But like, I was just like, you can't get wrecked that bad in a professional game. It's not something that should happen. And it's sad to see. Like, I want IM to have a good top laner, but between Lilac, Smeb, and like whoever else the fuck they get, like it just never happens. Something in that team house just takes all the talent out of the top lane and just makes them play shit. Something in the water. I don't know.
They never had Long Panda, did they?
No, that's a CJ into special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially for CJ.
I'll say the only thing I have written down for game 2 was how is Najin losing team fights to IM? Oh wait, Duke hasn't fought with them yet.
Yeah.
And then as I'm writing it down, I see an equalizer go down, and I'm just like, holy god, that damage.
Was that dragon fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was writing it down at work, and I was like, oh, I should probably stop writing because Duke has arrived.
Yeah. That Duke game 2 was actually complete stomp. Wasn't.
Yeah.
And emotionally, like Goon played super. Like he played as passive as you can with Caston. Like I seriously was watching him like every team fight. He would not take a single risk unless he knew he could go in. I mean, he did damage, but it's just because he played so super passive that I think he didn't get MVP. Duke did way more work in all those team fights on Rumble.
I'll get to Goon later. I've got.
Goon.
Yeah,
We'll get to
I was
that.
gonna save the Goon question
9-0.
until
9-0
after we go
on
through the
Caston.
games.
That was mainly because he did nothing.
So
Actually,
we can just jump on to the next game then of Ku and CJ, where surprisingly, to me, I don't know about you guys, surprisingly Ku won a game.
Oh,
They
okay.
won the first game
Yeah, Ku played well
against
that.
CJ.
Okay. So here's the thing I have about game 1, right? It's just like CJ pissed me off so much with this because they did. Like CJ picked this comp centered around Vayne. They had the Gragas, Azir, Janna, and was it Rumble or Maokai?
Maokai.
Okay, yeah. So the whole goal of that composition is to scale up. You fight in lanes, and you create separate fights, skirmishes for Vayne as the team fight evolves with the different forms of peel and like team fight divide that you have, so that Vayne can just deal with each of their like opponents, like 1-on-1 or 1-on-2, and just deal with them and then like clean up the rest of the fight. Instead, CJ took that comp into, what was it, Alistar and Rumble, and we're just like, hey, let's contest every single dragon and just like hole up in this choke point right around dragon and then completely abandon space every time that they engage on us and just get completely destroyed. They picked this composition and then they had absolutely no idea how to actually play it.
Yeah, and Space had really like terrible Vayne play as usual.
Yeah.
I feel like Hojin's tactic in this game was like he must have said some like real trash talk to like Space really bad in the game, like, oh, your mum's like ugly and fat, and then he was like, what did you say about mother? And he spent the entire game going, there he is, pew pew pew, I've got him, oh, I'm dead. Oh, okay, right. It's fucking Evelyn, ignore it, like, what's he gonna do? Like, but he was just like, come here, Evelyn, I'll get you.
And then at one point he was like, hey, I actually got the Evelyn, and then Coco followed up and killed him.
Yeah, they told him it was like a jug of Vayne comp, and he was like, I'll have one of those shields and I'll be really big. This will be amazing. Like, I'll get that pesky Evelyn. They're like, no, it's not. It's not how you play Vayne, mate. Like, you fucking shit. Get the fuck out. Like,
Yeah, you don't engage into choke points against Cassiopeia, Corky, Rumble, Alistair. Just the amount of poke and line damage they have is stupid. Also, Space, please stop playing Vayne.
Yes. Oh.
Just please. So let's move on to game 2. Even though it seems like CJ's special is to drop the first game for some inexplicable reason and then come out and win
Yasuo
2 games
top.
in a row.
Mostly because I picked Vayne all the first game. I think 2 series was Vayne first game. They lost.
yeah. That game was over as soon as Ambition picked Nunu. He picked on Nunu, and like, because Hojin's like a bit of an idiot. A bit of an idiot's an understatement. He was like, I don't know how to play against Nunu. I've lost already. Like, it was stupid. Like, so Ambition picked Nunu. I was like, well, this game's over, boys. Let's just FF at 20 and move on to the next one. Like,
And Coco's Jace as well.
Yeah, it was Coco's Jace and the Corky so much poke.
Yeah.
I don't think Shy or Space deserved MVP way more than Coco.
Oh yeah.
He enabled a lot of the early game stuff, but like the team
Coco
fighting Space and Shy did was ridiculous.
Oh yeah. Well, it's hilarious to watch Coco team fight with Jace against Azir because he had absolutely no idea how to do it. And like each time he's trying to for the skies or whatever.
Yeah.
to
the skies. He tried to use that right on top of Azir over the Emperor's Divide and just get bounced back every time. And then I saw it. It was near their. It was near inner mid tower, and Emperor Divide came out, and Coco's just like standing there. Was like, "Are you going to do it a third time? You're going to do it a third time?" He's like, finally, didn't go for it.
this time it will work.
He was like, like, third time's the charm. I'll get him now.
I just need to time the jump right so it jumps over the soul. That's all I'm missing right now. It's called to the sky. The soldier's on the ground. It'll be fine this time.
No.
It's impossible.
I just need to buy better boots at the store. Maybe if I get a second pair, I'll be able to jump.
Yeah, fucking idiot. Like, but the CJ's comp didn't even make sense, but it didn't matter. They had Nunu with Jace and Corky, two AD champions that don't benefit from Nunu's blood boil. Like, this is like, but because Ambition like just mind gamed the fuck out of Hojin, like it didn't matter. Like,
not only that, but there was no top laner that would benefit from Nunu either. It was Rumble. Like the Nunu blood boil was literally for I'm gonna move a bit faster.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of works on Corky because you can build less attack speed and more AD in his passive. But I mean, other than that, no, it didn't really do much. It was just Ambition on Nunu.
But when you think of like ADs that Nunu work well with, it's like Callista, Vayne, Ogmore, Azir, not really any character.
Even Tristana,
Caitlyn, anyone that kind of sits there and go pew pew pew. Corky's like not that kind of person, so It's just just picking comfort picks and going, oh, maybe we'll win like this. Oh, surprise, you won. And
well, in that second game, Ku like started to draft, and I was like, wait, are they just gonna try and style on CJ with their own composition, but actually play it correctly? Which they did to a certain degree. Like they actually didn't take those fights in the choke points, but they didn't have a Vayne. They had an Ezreal.
Yep.
And nor did
And
I
a Bard.
completely.
Instead
and
of
a Bard.
Jane or Janna, they had a Bard for
And a Bard.
why. Oh my god, some of those magical journeys for like a 2-foot magical journey where it was positioned just around the edge of the corner, and just like, why?
My favorite part was when CJ were doing Baron, and Gorilla used Tempered Fate into the pit.
He missed the Baron.
He missed the stationary
It missed
Baron.
everything.
He missed every single thing in that pit.
Even the Baron. I mean, if he had hit Baron, they had actually a chance to steal it, but he missed the Baron. How? That was fucking hilarious, actually.
well, while I was watching the first game and like Gorilla was going off on his Alistar, I was like, oh my god, Gorilla's back, he's the best support player in the world. And then I think he heard me and was like, hold on a second here, let me prove this motherfucker wrong. Has he seen this Bard play? Like what? Like thanks for that, Gorilla. Like,
Yeah. Bard's kit is so easy that you can, like, not easy, but it's so playmaking in almost all of the abilities that you can see something like, oh my god, this guy's the greatest, and then like 2 seconds later he'll use the other ability and be like, well, that was freaking retarded.
he kept using his magical journey as well just to run away. Like, see you later, guys. Like magical journey back to the fountain. Like
that ult at Baron was not the worst event that happened at Baron Pit. Even within the past
This
day,
week?
when we
No.
had,
not even this day.
Tucson flashing out of the Baron when it's lower than 1,000 HP is the only person with smite on his team.
That was the best thing about that.
Actually, it was the day after, but yeah.
Yeah,
that was
within
that
the
was
2
hilarious.
days. It was within 24 hours, and still not
like-
the worst thing to do at Baron.
You could at least try and grab the Baron, but you're just like, no, peace out.
He could have died and smited to that Baron,
Mhm.
and that would still be
Yeah.
worse. But he even flashed out of the
Flash.
pits. I'm like,
Yeah, he
dude,
flashed
you're
out
the
of the
smite, come back.
Just like, see you later, guys.
Like that was that one advantage they had, is that enemy had no smite, and then the smite left.
I think Tucson was returning to his support days. It's just like,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like
It was
I
at the
can't
absolute
do
best.
anything. Get out.
sometimes
Was that he
forgets
flashed
he's-
out and then started to run away and was like, wait, came back and just walked right into death. And it was just like, well, you almost used the flash to escape to live, but nope, you decided to just walk back randomly and die. Because I don't know why.
It's because he forgets he's a. It's because he forgets he's a jungler. In that moment, he was like, "Oh shit, I'm low. Better get out of
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Wait a minute, am I the only guy with smite? Better get back in there." Like,
Damn, too late. Okay, good.
what the fuck are you doing? You smite, dickhead. Oh yeah, shit, fuck. Damn. Like, my bad, guys. Like, next game will be better.
Okay, and then we have, going back to serious things, the next game we had with CJ, we got to see Ambition's Lee Sin.
And he did BM with the SKT skin. I don't get it.
I know.
That story was so funny. They were telling.
That was so great, yeah.
Like he got season 1, then season 2, and then he went
Season
for
1
Muay
Gragas.
Thai. What a disappointment.
Muay Thai.
But yeah, he got that early kill on that wisdom in the jungle. Just easy, like the easiest.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Question ever,
he completely controlled that early game. And,
That's a weak point about Sejuani, and wisdom just got totally destroyed.
Mhm.
And then the snowball occurred.
There was a point as well where like Gorilla flashed into like a hook, a thresh hook, I think, to like protect the team.
Oh my,
Like flashed in, and then they all died anyway. I was like, why was you flashing?
Yeah, I was so surprised with that flash. I was like, why did you do that, Gorilla? Like, I think he really.
he flashed in for Azir, and then Azir came back to protect him. It's like, he was making it so you could leave.
Yeah. So that's the only key moment where you try and save someone by like sacrificing yourself, and then they turn around and try and save you. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
And
I'm the
I think
support, run!
that is a great way of looking at Kood Tiger's like last few games has been almost solo queue-esque.
It's like a weird mixture of like selfish play and like sort of selfless play. Like they can't really decide whether they're going to be selfish or selfless, so just nothing happens. Like pick one, maybe something will happen. But no, Ku Tigers are a mess. I think that name changed. One name changed too many.
Okay, well, moving on, we have Jin Air versus Sbenu. So, not a lot to talk about here. Besides the Lysandra pick came back, that was pretty neat to see that.
Captain Jack and Che also came back with Lysandra.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but
I mean,
Came back for 2 games, which is.
yeah.
Do you think it's gonna happen a lot, or is it just because it's brand new? So,
it was Sbenu.
yeah,
I think it was Sbenu.
yeah, probably.
Like, well, we still have you on our roster. Let's throw you out.
Can have these games.
Yeah.
So it still took Jin Air. The Jin Air still had to go to the Jin Air zone in game 1, and just not end it.
Yeah.
I still think Jay's like a good support player. Then I think he could do well on a team that needs a support player. But I don't think that team is Jin Air, and I don't think his AP partner is Captain Jack. Like anyone's AP partner is Captain Jack. Like,
Hey, Captain Jack, you'll still forget the day when he cleansed your ability as it hit you, because not every AD carry does that now.
Like, I think Captain Jack did a lot of good for like turning around Jin Air when he initially joined, but I think it's a weird sense of loyalty to him now. Like, okay, he's done basically. Like, just send him off to like a Brazilian team and be done with it. Like,
Hey, he'll get his 4 games every year when he plays Sbenu.
Maybe
Captain Jack gonna follow in Emperor's footsteps, go to Brazil, then like a year later we'll see him in NA for like a bottom tier team.
Maybe.
Oh God.
It'd be fun.
So, now on to today's spectacular games. We had Samsung once again actually win a game. But before that we had to sit through 54 minutes. Was it 54 or 45 minutes
54
of
minutes of easyhoon.
Play.
And Fury almost. He played really well that game though. Like,
Yeah.
Fury, like he kept them kind of nice. Even though
Samsung as a whole played well for a good part of it.
But
And, like,
Samsung as a whole played well for like the past 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I've been really impressed with like Samsung's performance this split as a whole. Like they've like I said, they came close to beating Ku, like very close.
They came really close to beating Jin Air and Ku, and they took the first game off SKT.
Second.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, first game.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah. Sure. But
I mean, it didn't have SKT in it, but it didn't have
Well, it didn't have Faker.
It
in
was an easy
Yeah.
game though, like, so let's not over exaggerate that.
I mean, it was still an easyhoon game, but they still took a game off.
I mean, by no means, easyhoon's not a terrible player. Like,
No, but I've seen enough Ziggs games that go 50
Yeah,
plus
oh,
minutes.
oh yeah.
And now the Vladimir 50 plus. Just
easyhoon's not a bad player. I just dislike him because he's a dull player.
Yeah.
yes.
Every time he plays, I don't get to watch Faker, and I'm like, well,
At first, I was like,
duller than anything.
in that series against GE before MSI, I was like, hey, easyhoon's getting solo kills. Now look at that.
Yeah.
I was like, is that going to transition? Is that going to? Nope.
The best though is the best thing about the series is just that each game's what it tells the next one. Like SKT wins a slog fest that takes forever with like they almost lose, then they lose, and then Faker comes in 20 something minutes later.
24.
Oh, I'm done, guys.
24, 25.
He walks in just like, oh, that was quick. Is there more? There's no more games. Okay.
Yes. I mean, easyhoon played three games this split yet. 2 games were 50 plus minutes, and they won, where they had a good lead, but they just farmed it out super long because easyhoon had scaling champions.
Well, the other thing though is like easyhoon's primarily been. Well, I guess the one time he played with Bengi, and then this time was with Tom.
Yeah, they play him a lot with Tom. That's true.
Yeah.
But Faker and Tom still ends in 30 minutes pretty much, and they still win. It's the difference. It's so dull when you watch easyhoon games. You just know you're gonna sit there for 50 minutes, like just end it. And then Faker comes and just does a 30 minutes excitement and total destruction of the opponents with whatever champion he picks. He's 6 for 6, 6 games, 6 different champions so far.
easyhoon's a great player, but every time you see him, you don't see Faker, and it's just like I came to watch Faker.
Where's Faker right now? Like,
Why? It's like if you showed up to like any kind of a sporting or like an art show, and they're showing you like, oh, we brought the Mona Lisa, but it'll be there tomorrow. So come back tomorrow if you want to see it.
He's essentially like the warm-up act of Faker's.
Yeah.
So you turn up to the Faker's gig, you get really hyped by watching Faker's gig. And then the warm-up band, you're like, all right, this is all right. Now when's Faker going to come out and play? And then sometimes they go, well, that's the end of the show today. What the fuck, man? Paying 30 quid for these tickets. Where the fuck's Faker? Like,
yeah.
God. And you know what? Like, there was that rumor that like Samsung tried to buy easyhoon, and like everyone was like, oh, like, you know, saying, oh, it's no surprise that SKT didn't want him. I was like, why is it a surprise? Like, what are SKT really using Faker for these days? I mean, what are SKT really using easyhoon for these days? Other than to...
I would have actually loved to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
That roster swap. Like, Samsung with easyhoon would
be a really good team.
Probably be doing... Yeah, they'd probably be doing really well.
Samsung with easyhoon, we could do Najin with easyhoon. There's so many, like, there's a bunch of teams that are like, wow, that'd be great. Except SKT is pretty smart for being like, we're not gonna let that. We know what he can do, and he's a great player. So no.
But this goes to a wider problem with Korea, which is that certain teams are holding on to players that they don't need and weakening other teams, and it just hurts themselves eventually because they don't have quality practice. It's a wider problem that is indicative of a bigger problem.
Don't worry, none of the teams are holding on to their good junglers. Because there's like 2 junglers in Korea.
I think Winged on Jin Air could be pretty good. But he's just permanently in Chaser's shadow, so that's a let him.
I don't think I've seen Winged play a game yet,
and he never will.
Yeah, not again. Yeah,
unless Chaser gets sick, or gets run by a bus or something.
Okay, so I mean, anything to say about the Samsung game that they won, the second game, besides like the super early snowball fizz, Gragas gank?
Samsung showed why they're not close to the top because of all the mid-game crap that they did.
Oh yeah.
I think to be fair, that like Monter, I think they undersold them a bit because that's not really their. I mean, they looked way better like, strategically. That I don't know why. That's serious. They just throw they went total ape shit. Like they had a lead and just did whatever they wanted.
They're like, hey,
they don't do that like most
I know.
It was
they were just like, hey, we got this immense snowball, so let's not play normally for whatever reason.
They did a weird stuff. Like it was not a good presentation of how good I think Samsung can be.
I think game 1 was, even though they lost that.
Yeah, game one was more their style. See, that was the weird thing. Like game 2, they just went totally crazy. Like, and it's
I know. Yeah.
They had a lead, and they were actually quite well. Yeah, they're still quite lucky they won that game. To be honest.
Issue I had too with game 2 is that SKT went double tier and just like, no, don't do that. Don't get double tier, please.
The amount of tiers that day were insane.
I think the like plan was kind of like to be able to get to that tier point with the Rumble and Evelyn, but then they just kind of killed easyhoon and QV got the double, and it's like, well, that plan's gone out the window.
I think
the best thing that could happen to Korea is if SKT don't win this season. If SKT don't win this season, then it proves that there's depth in the Korean scene. It'll convince SKT to stop trying to style on everyone. It will maybe get Faker some more play and get easyhoon the fuck out of SKT. Like, it's literally the best thing that could happen to Korea, but it just, all the stars point towards that happening. So it's like...
I'll say, who do you think is going to beat them?
Very unlikely. They have too much.
Because I mean, into our next game we have KT versus IM, and KT, who's supposed to be, who we've seen play so well,
that was a horrible
drops
series
a
from
game to
Dude.
IM.
Dude, did you watch game 2? Like they should have lost.
Game 2.
Dude, game 2 they had no turrets, they had no inhibitors, they had nothing. They should have legitimately lost that game, but they won by
Literally.
luck.
Apple,
Game 2,
Apple was like, "Hey, I'm just gonna equalize the minions. Let's drop the equalizer on the minions
If you
and
have
get this
12
force."
super minis and a Baron buff, the only thing you have to do is literally hit the Nexus, and they can't stop you. But
just stand near to it; it'll kill itself.
yeah, exactly. But they didn't do. They have
Just put around the Nexus, like.
they have virus to poke, and what they did was try to fight them, throw equalizer on nothing, just to clear the minions. So they cleared the few minions that were gonna spawn, and not instantly gonna die to all the Baron buff minions. Like
I think
KT got super lucky that they actually
Yeah.
in that game, because then in game 3 they were actually looking normal again, and then won the game pretty handily, though pretty long, but they played it safe just to make sure they didn't lose.
well, that was also the thing. Was like in game 2, basically it was like roar. Like they didn't have a way to deal with the instant dive that Fizz and LeBlanc could
Oh yeah, well
get onto roar, especially in like those
they
like.
handled it well with the condemn and stuff. I don't think that was the problem. But yeah,
No, because in the last 2 fights, Roar just got picked off by
instantly.
Fizz
Yeah.
and LeBlanc.
That is true. Last 2 fights, but yeah, only that
So
long. And
there were so many fights that ended, and I was just like, I was eating breakfast, and there were so many fights, and I'm just like, this is over, right? I stopped looking away and was like, they didn't finish it. Really?
I was watching a VOD, so I realized that they didn't win that game. So I was like, every time that I saw a team fight, I was like, how do you lose this game? How are you gonna lose this? I was getting nuts, and then now they like really.
By the power of Rengar. They lost because of Rengar's sick, amazing ability to be relevant, right? It was all Rengar.
I don't get why you pick a Rengar and then like just build AD. Well, what the fuck do you even build tank for? You're still not gonna do anything. Like every team fight he was dead. He wasn't dead. He was just invisible, running around, and then ran away because he doesn't do anything. That's literally what he did. So, yeah, I forget that Kitty just. I don't know. That draft was horrible that day.
That pick and ban is like, oh, they totally styled on them the first game with a real comp, right? And they're just doing this to troll, right? Oh wait, no, they lost the first game. What? Why are you picking Fizz mid and Rengar, or Fizz top and Rengar? Just the Fizz top, please. Can people not do that? I've seen it in China, and I don't understand how it exists. It just doesn't do anything, really.
Well, it does. It does.
It does stuff, but it's like there's so many other top laners that do everything else better.
I don't think if you pick Fizz top, you really go the Cinderhulk. I mean,
no, that's actually the point. Sort of.
I don't know. People used to ran Ignite Triforce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah,
Cinderhulk's the coolest, don't you know?
Yeah. They want to abuse the skirmisher saber against to assassinate the back.
Kill it, yeah.
But like you even see on like Hecarim, people have pretty much shied away from getting smite on Hecarim.
Yeah, that's because
all
the nerfs. Ignite is half the time better on the Hecarim right now. I just don't think you should play Fizz top lane. It's
no,
stupid
I don't either.
As fuck. I don't know. I get annoyed with it. Yeah, Kitty just fucking that drafts were horrible that day. It really is surprising. And then game 3 they finally drafted something normal. They were very slow, but at least won the game pretty cleanly. I mean, they got lucky they actually won that series, but they still showed to be better. But that day
I am kind of controlled.
I say for a team that does amazing drafts, it was just like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
So, but to summarize this week, it was the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good being Samsung, it was seeing them improve. The bad being Ku, and the ugly being IM. Because just the games they were in were not an enjoyable thing to watch.
No, not at all.
The first series against Jin Air, against Najin, with the left click Tristana of I took Baron, and then like within a minute
Dragon.
I take Dragon,
and I get every turret because I'm Tristana.
and then the abysmal games of the Vayne Varus
Ah,
that actually
Hey.
won one game and should have won
Should
the
have won the
second,
second game.
but
yeah,
Ah,
Rengar.
Why?
If they just had not had Rengar, they would have won that game easily. KG.
yeah, but
There were so many. Like just quickly sit or something. Like anything was better than Rengar, or just build Rengar AD and let him one shot Vayne or Varus, so you don't have to deal with it. KG just they were really frustrating to watch. I thought it was gonna be a pretty enjoyable day, enjoyable day to watch, but it was the like worst day I've had in ages.
oh my god,
7 hours.
it was
of
6
pure-
games too.
Yeah, it was 7 hours of pure hell. It was bad, except the Faker game. It was enjoyment. It was just Faker's
Why?
here.
Because it was 24 minutes.
Yeah, it's 24 minutes and you see Victor one shot in Italy from miles away. That's relaxing. You can just watch it. Like, oh yeah, this is how it should be instead of 3
That was
inhibitors
just like-
down and a billion super.
3
minions.
inhibitors down. Wasn't it 3
Three.
inhibitors down twice?
Yeah, twice.
Didn't they get him 3 twice?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm not sure twice.
I don't know if they had. I don't know if they had all 3 of them down, but I know they had like multiple inhibitors down multiple times, and then all
I
3
am-
down at once.
Yeah, it might have been twice.
I don't know. It was a disaster.
It was just. Oh god. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on to the next topic that we saved for Sam, and a look at Najin's insanity and why are they using this roster when they have other players that are not named Goon.
It's all a fake out. It's all part of Reach's master plan. It's weird like proxy gate strategy where he's gonna like he gets everyone to focus on his shit players and then he like sneaks his really good players around the corner. No, I don't fucking know. So okay, so I can talk all day about Najin's issues. The problem with like Najin as a roster have a lot of talent. Like it's this idea like, oh, if you're like a guy who thinks you know a lot about League of Legends, you're like, just give me Najin and I will win you worlds. Like that's all I need. Like, but obviously the team has like a lot more issues than that. So there's when you run down the roster, you have Duke, the best top laner in the world. You know, objectively, maybe Koro in China, but
He's
I'd
the
take
best in
Duke over.
Korea. Best in Korea.
Like best in Korea, will carry, you know, can play every champion, wins his lane every time, gets more solo kills than anyone else, like motherfucking beast. And you know, seemingly a player with a great attitude and stuff like that as well. Especially when you look at like his initial joining of KT and how much he improved by switching to Najin Blacksword, like really, really good player. And then you have in the jungle position, you have Watch, who's like a inconsistent but like sort of stable-ish jungler who has like these occasional breakout games and then will quickly remind you of why he's a bit shit and will have a good game again and it's like, okay, Watch, and is too busy being in K-pop videos to get really practice. Like, and then they have Peanut, who is like baby Watch in a sense that like he, you know, young guy, handsome, but doesn't get any play. But in the games we've seen of him, he's been either really amazing or on the Cinderhook junglers, he was a bit shit. So I kind of understood why they swapped Peanut out when the Cinderhook patch took over, because Watch genuinely looks better on the Cinderhook patch. From the very limited 2 games that we saw of Peanut on the Cinderhook patch, Watch looks better. He's a better Sejuani, and he might be a better Gragas, I'm not sure. But at the same time, you've got to kind of bank on the unknown talent. Like Peanut's a guy with a theoretically amazingly high skill ceiling, who could be like the next big thing in Korean jungle talent, who just doesn't get any play. Like it's just confusing. And I don't know whether it's because Watch is theoretically the team captain of Najin, or is the team captain of Najin, or what. But just give Watch some play. Just give Peanut some play, man. Just give him some time in the booth. Like against Sbenu, for example, he lost that series. That would have been a good chance to give Peanut some play and let him go off. Like, you know. And then in the mid lane, Goom. Like, really, if there was a player who should go to an A, it's Goom. Like, you know, he needs to just get out of Korea. Like, there was a time where Goom was really consistent, and what we like to say about Goom is never has a bad game. He'll always carry. You know, at Season 3 Worlds, he had actually probably the best tournament of anyone on Najin. You know, he had that Z game where he fucking like went 10-0 and like 11 and fucking made high like his little fucking bitch. Like, you know, he had some really breakout amazing games, and now he just plays like shit. And he either gets Ari and does nothing, or he gets like Cassiopeia and like has a good ult once in a while. That's about it. And Tank, again, a player who, you know, like you're saying, oh, it'd be good if easyhoon joined Najin. Well, they have an easyhoon, they have Tank, but they refuse to play him. Like, it's just frustrating to watch. And then, like, finally, OQ has got the starting spot over Zephyr. That took all much longer than it should have done. But then they keep using Pure over Kane, who I rate Kane over Pure, but that's not even the biggest issue, really. Like, because the biggest issue is the wrong mid laner. Like, that's the main issue, because they keep trying to run with like a triple carry threat comp, but Goon can't carry, but he can't support either. But Tank can support, and it's just pathetic to watch. Because every time, like, I remember reading some posts where people were like, "Oh, Najin gonna be a top 3 team this season." I was like, really? Like, I'd love it if they were, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like, you know, I reckon they'll just put Goong in the booth and we'll be done with it, kind of thing. Like, it's just frustrating. Like,
Do you think Peanut's going to see any play after the Cinderhulk, like the tankier junglers start to wane off a bit?
I think so. Yeah, I think to be honest with you, I mean, it's one of them things. Like, you know, in every series, I almost expect Peanut to turn up, and then he doesn't. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Like, but you know, like, there's got to be a point where they've got to put him in, and like Goon, the first thing is to get rid of Goon. That's the first thing they have to do is get rid of Goon. He messes up the team dynamic. His champion pool's way too limited, and like, just get rid of him, kind of thing. Like, it's almost not fair to keep him on Najin, because like, he can't, you know, like, he needs to. There's still time in his career if he goes to a weaker region and like kind of reinvents himself and refines his place and stuff like that. But
like what Ryu did?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but on Najin, he just can't perform because it's not the right team for him to perform, because he can't play with a carry AD and a carry top laner, and he can't, you know, whatever it is, he just can't. He can't do it. Even if they like, because Najin are meant to have like a special relationship with IG, which is why Save was sent to IG. They're meant to have like a sort of partner relationship with IG. That's why they do all those photos together and stuff like that. Why not swap Goon for Fly on Young Glory and bring Fly back? Fly was a good supportive mid laner. Why not do that move? You know, that would probably benefit both teams. I watch Young Glory games because I like Save a lot, and you know what? That would probably help them out. But they just, Najin have every opportunity to turn around their performance, and every time they choose not to do it. And I want to sit down with these coaches and ask them, what is wrong with you? Like, you've done good stuff in the past. Why can't you do it now? Like, this is the worst season Najin have ever had in League of Legends. Even with Najin Blacksoul continually failing to get out of groups, even with, you know, all this kind of shit, it's the worst season Najin have ever had. Last time was the first time a Najin team has not made the playoffs ever in OGN and LCK history. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Now, you said you rated Kane over Pure a bit. Do you want to explain why? Because I mean, I feel the same thing, but I want to see if you have the same reasoning.
So both are good mechanically, and both are playmaking supports. But I think that Pure kind of cracks under pressure sometimes and has a more limited champion pool than Kane. And there was an interview that Duke did in the OGN preseason where he talked about they were swapping the Zephyr Kane bot lane with the OQ Pure bot lane, and Duke was saying that when the two younger players are on the comms, it's really hyperactive and it's really difficult to work out what's going on. But when Kane and Zephyr were on the comms, it was almost a bit too quiet on the comms, and he said that a mix of them would prove the best. And it's like, well, yeah, it would, but you can't bring Zephyr because Zephyr's shit. So just bringing Kane players recklessly back then, because Kane was there to reel him in. Was there like, maybe don't do that, mate. Maybe don't flash into that tower. Maybe just, you know, don't do something that's maybe we just dial it back a little bit. Like, you're 5-0 in lane, okay, OQ. There's no need to try that much harder. Like, this game is going to be won if you just carry on doing what you're doing now. And I feel like Kane is needed as that veteran, especially if you're going to swap. Watch for
Peanut. Yeah,
you need that veteran, kind of that older Hyung-like figure on the team, and Kane is that older Hyung-like figure on the team. But yeah. So
I mean, yeah, the last point you made is one of the main ones I think about when I see switching. Is if you're going to switch Peanut in for watch, you're going to want to have someone to calm them down, to get them under composure if something happens unexpectedly, if something bad happens. And just watching Kane OQ and OQ pure, it just seems like OQ doesn't do as many OQs with Kane.
Yeah.
Like, there's no just like, wait, what was he doing? Why was someone like not just leaning next to him and punching him, going, "What are you doing?"
The problem with Oki as well is like this is a player who might be like the most talented AD in Korea right now. Like horrendously high skill cap. Incredible mechanics, the star power to literally carry a game by himself. Control. Yeah, because I think we're top player on a continuous script. The Najin team versus like the other Najin team, and because the other Najin team has Zephyr, they go, well, this Najin team's clearly better. It could be not just like just take Zephyr out of the equation and try swapping some other players around. Like put Zephyr and like making actual janitor. He can clean toilets or he can cook food. I'm sure we have some skill life. It's not Legends. And then send Goong off to NA. Send them both off to NA. Tell you what, make it a buddy mission for him. Sell them to some like NA guy who wants the LS. Yes, whatever. And just as your young talent Kane to back it up, and you could even make it a team needs funds. Like what would be an upgrade over to at least his shot calling. Like thing you can send him to. You could do IM. Like he's clearly a marketable and profitable player for Korea. Like, and in a sense, watch his place is almost in Korea, but it's not a Najin. It's definitely not a Najin anymore.
Even if he didn't play on IM and just helped Tucson out, that would be
exactly
significant.
And when they originally brought in Peanut, I was like, this is going to be great because Watch is going to be there to teach him about vision control and all this. No, it's just Watch is just going to play instead. So that was all that was going to happen. Like, and it's just like, because almost as a fan of the Korean scene, you're looking at like any team that could challenge SKT and beat them. And SKT, like man for man, have the best roster in Korea. You look at the kind of success talent they have in every single role, they have the best roster, and that's part of why they win. The other part is the fact that they have, best coaching staff and the best strategy and all that kind of good stuff. But Najin have a roster that could genuinely compete with SKT, but they refuse to use it. OQ or Bang. Well, I'd take OQ, but Bang's positional AD as well. Then you've got
we've seen Bang's ceiling like the spring finals, and then not the versus CJ. You could see like the peak of Bang, which was pretty nuts, but that was the peak. It's not going to hit there all the time, but when he does, he can go crazy. But yeah, I would say with OQ, I think OQ is going to be able to not have this like same. He's not going to be that level constantly, but I think he'd have more times you'd see him shine similarly to that. You'd see him go like you'd just be baffled and watch that game over again.
I think
just to see it happen.
I think Oki could be better than Deft if he got put on the right team, and if he got, like, it took Deft a year and a half to become a really good player. Oki's been playing, I guess, professionally for about a year now, if you don't count the Zenix days, because that's not really fair. So there's no reason why Oki still can't continue. Deft had an older support playing with him his entire career. He had Heart. Why, Kane and Heart are about the same age. Like there's just too many kind of frustrating things to watch about Najin, and that's why it's hard to watch their games. Obviously, I watch their games because of the team, but it's just hard to watch. And just like, thanks for that, guys. Really.
Do you guys have any comments on Gosickboy Sam's view of Najin?
Pretty much said yeah. It's
any
just
disagreements?
A problem. It's a problem with Goong and Mid, and OQ needs time to develop with the team is just not built right for them to go anywhere, and their strategic decision stuff, it's all pretty messy. They have the talent to compete, but they're not using the right talents. We want Kane back with Oki. Surprised that they were using Pure the whole season. I thought Kane and Oki were doing well last split, or last split when they played together. Yeah, Sam pretty much stole everything about it.
Sam, do you see Najin making it into the top? I mean, assuming KT, CJ, and SKT are going to stay the top 3 teams, which it seems most likely, unless there's a gigantic meta shift and one of them gets completely screwed up by it, they're probably going to be the top 3 teams going into the playoffs. Who do you see as the 4th and 5th, rounding that out?
Jin Air and Najin.
Do you see Jin Air and Najin? Okay.
Yeah. But I would almost go as far as to say that I don't think CJ will make Worlds, and if you wanted my picks for like the end of kind of split teams that will go to Worlds and represent Korea, I think it'll be Najin, Jin Air, and SKT.
Jin Air.
Really?
Yeah.
Over KT?
100%. Jin Air have more talent. They just you can't get around the fact that KT have a garbage bot lane, and they have.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not great, but since Fixer joined, it's definitely seen a turnaround.
Yeah, it's been
massively better than with Hachani.
But pilots, yeah.
anything is better than Hachani.
True. But
OGN champion. You thought you
Hey,
what he said.
not only is an
Shut up,
OGN
Sam.
champion, but he is coach of the hottest new team.
Anarchy.
Yeah.
While playing
So-
Heroes of the Storm at the same time.
Yeah, professionally.
Mhm.
No,
So, Mike,
Amazing guy.
who do you think is going to be 4th and 5th going into the summer split playoffs?
Um,
I think that SKT will win Summer Split and will get an automatic spot to Worlds, which will almost render the circuit points from Spring kind of irrelevant. I think that
But
so then you'll have like the because they'll have the most circuit points and they'll have got the automatic spot. So I'm not sure how that will work. Whether it will be the finalist of the Summer Split who will get that automatic spot to Worlds or what.
it's probably like LCS where the
it's
winner
the
of
same. It's the
summer.
same.
Yeah.
I
So
checked
winner of summer is going to get the automatic into Worlds,
Yeah.
and then after that, whoever has the most circuit points
Okay.
gets the second spot.
And the third is a
So
gauntlet.
There's even a chance that
If the team with the most points is
God.
also the one that wins, because actually no,
Well, yeah, the
that's-
second team.
yeah,
There's a
because-
chance Ku would make it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean Korea is still
Because they don't
Yeah.
for
they
the,
don't
for the
earn
two
any
spots.
points for winning summer.
And Korea is still wide open for the 2 spots. Remaining outside of SKT, you've got you when you're throwing names into hat, the teams that could, have a reasonable chance of making it. Ku Tigers, Najin Eon Fire, CJ Entus, Jin Air Green Wings, and KT Rolster all have a reasonable chance of making it based on current form and past results and past form. If Ku Tigers could start playing how they did earlier, straight away they go to Worlds. It wouldn't be no questions asked. But is that going to happen? I don't know. I feel like all Ku Tigers would need to do is just replace their jungler, and they could be a really good team. But if they got like a genuine like sort of A tier threat jungler, I think they'd be a really good team. A jungler who enables their solo lanes and doesn't lose games.
That's true.
I mean, can you imagine Ku Tigers with like Chaser? That'd be insane. And then Jin Air again, like a team. Jin Air have a really good bot lane. Pilot's a really good player, I think. Just stop playing Captain Jack. And is if they, this Kuzan guy could keep his form up, or if GBM could come back in like a blaze of glory, then that's another way of doing it. And then KT Rolster as well, that team that can like look really hot or look really not. If they could just find a bit of consistency and channel the mixture of bullets and arrows rather than just being the arrows with worse players, then they could do really well. And then you've got CJ Enters. I think CJ Enters going to Worlds for Korea would be a bad thing because I don't think they have the talent to compete internationally, man for man on their roster. But they're quite a smart team in some ways. Or they used to be. So it's still wide open, but I think Najin and Fire and Jin Air are the two teams that will make it to Worlds. I think Najin will do what they always do and turn it around right at the end and just make it.
Yeah, but
And anger everyone.
the format is not really in their favor now, though. That's a big problem.
All they need to do is make it to the gauntlet. That's all they need to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Last time they came to the gauntlet in the basically the last place, because when you get in terms of the gauntlet, like the two bottom spots doesn't matter. Both play the same amount of games. So all they need to do is make it to the gauntlet in the bottom spot, and then they can do that run that they've done twice before, and everyone will get pissed off again, and it won't. And then they'll go to Worlds and they'll disappoint.
Watch goes to Worlds.
Yeah. Just like Fnatic always win Europe, just like TSM always win NA, Watch always makes it to Worlds. Like, he's the one consistent of Korean League of Legends. Like, Dade's rise and Death's fall, but Watch always makes it to Worlds. But I don't even want Watch to go to Worlds. I want Peanut to go to Worlds. I want Peanut to show his potential and, become the jungler. Because that's the thing, like, when you run down the roster, it's like, so you've got Duke, who could be, who's like the reincarnation of Save and Flame. You've got Peanut, who could be the reincarnation of Cacao. You've got Tank, who could be like a really good supportive mid laner. You've got OQ, who could be like a weird hybrid of Deft and Imp. And then you've got Kanye West. Like, it could be a really good team, it won't.
Now, what happens if they finally decide to switch in Tank, right? And they're consistently playing with Tank, and I don't know what they do with Goong. Maybe they even give up to it. What happens then if the meta shifts and Assassins come back into favor?
Even when Assassins have been at their peak, you haven't needed to use Assassins to win.
True.
Except Season 3.
Not only that, but Goong only plays 3 Assassins. He only plays Ari, Zed, and LeBlanc.
And Cassin, too. But he plays
Echo is coming in, and Echo is going to dump on so many champions he doesn't nerf.
Right, I forget Echo.
But then there's no reason. But then there's no reason why like Peanut or Duke couldn't just start playing Echo and jungle or
show up
like
mid lane for like 8 times in a row. Yeah.
But I think in Season 3, when Assassins were horrendously strong, I don't think you need an Assassin player, really. I think a Control Mage player is more stable in this kind of historically. In Season 2, Assassins didn't exist with all mages. Season 4, I actually think that mages were the best pick overall. It is indicative of the players that went to Worlds, except for Dade. I mean, all the Pawn's a Control player. You got it right out. He has some good Assassins, but he's a Control Mage player. A bit of a bitch in lane as well, but whatever. And I just think that, you know what, this team could be really good. They just need to just start wanting to win. If they want to win, they could win.
And use the right players, mainly.
Yeah. But that goes into this phrase of wanting to win kind of thing.
Maybe Watch wants to win, but I mean,
I don't know whether Goose I don't know whether I theorized that like at one point Reach got into trouble with some like mafia or something, and Goong bailed him out or whatever, and that's why it's constantly we've got to use Goong, and his other coach is like, why we keep putting in Goong? I don't know, man. I believe in this kid. Actually, I owe him my life, but let's not tell anyone that.
That seems more like a story.
He knows
for
the
China,
secret.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that happens in Korea that much. It's possible.
Whatever Goog's done, he knows where the bodies are hidden. Knows Reach's deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah, there's a good chance.
Maybe they've both got a StarCraft Brood War brotherhood going on or something. Both former Protoss players. I'm fucking whatever it is.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Mikey, who do you think has a chance to make? Who do you think is going to make the 4th and 5th position going into the end of the split?
Currently, I put Jin Air as one of them, and then I'd love to say Najin, and the only reason I'm not saying Najin is because they're still running Watch and Goong. And I mean, I would say Najin if hopefully they start putting in Tank and maybe Peanut and start doing some different things than they are now. But right now, I would put Samsung in that 5th spot.
Najin is still 5th overall though. Still 5-5 record.
Yep.
Samsung have a 5-8 record, 1-4 overall, 2-2, 1-4.
Yeah, but Samsung still has to play Anarchy and
Samsung hasn't played.
Sbenu, but they have to play Anarchy.
Yeah, they
Same.
picked them.
Samsung's schedule has been.
They play Anarchy. No, they play IM week 5. They play CJ week 6, and they play Najin next week.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess Najin and Samsung will definitely be telling. The problem with Samsung is that the endurance factor, they can't get through series, it seems like, or they do some sort of thing. But the reason why I put them in that 5th spot is like they show when their wins are really well done. They've shown a really nice job at drafting certain compositions and playing them out very well, very crisply. They have shown very good map play, individual play from at moments, especially from Fury. Maybe not so much QV and Crown at times, but I think given the rest of the season to develop, Samsung will become a pretty strong team. Once they can probably start to work on some of these series problems that show up repeatedly. That aren't so much problems. I mean, some of them are problems with play, but some more of it is, especially in the draft phase.
I just think Samsung's too weak in terms of talent to really kind of who's a real talent on their team. Fury, Luna, Wraith. You can only have 2 of those guys playing any one time anyway, unless you're going to move Wraith into the jungle or something. You know, it didn't work out well for IM, did it? Like
Jungle Syndra, let's go.
Yeah, so, you know, the team just too weak. I can't see Kuve playing internationally. That's all. Like, I can't see him doing anything.
I'm not saying international. I'm not saying internationally. I'm just saying making the top half of the OGN teams.
Maybe. I think they've got the opposite problem of what Najin have got though. Najin have too much talent and no strategy, and Samsung have a bit of strategy and not enough talent.
Yeah.
If you could combine the two, then you would you'd certainly have something. Like, yeah, if you take Samsung coaches and you let them pick the Najin players, then probably have something.
I think at this point, if you let a Najin fan pick the Najin players, you'd be at least a step ahead.
The women would still pick Watch, probably.
No, because
Peanut's a good looking guy.
Yeah, that's true.
The younger, cuter version of Watch.
Yeah, I don't know. You have to have a poll about that with the Korean fangirls.
Either way, what would matter was Goon would be gone. So
yeah, that's true.
Immediately the team improves tenfold. Like.
So Peter, what are your 4th and 5th now?
Well, I think Jin Air is definitely, they have enough skill, like with Chaser, and their bot lane is really good, and mid lane they'll have enough talent. Definitely, Kuzan looks good, and GPM has always been good. Trace has moments, so Jin Air is definitely going to keep it up, and so they should end 4th, maybe even 3rd. Who knows? I think so. Jin Air is definitely the lock for playoffs, and then so it's or between Samsung finally fixing their problems and winning a series, or Najin coaches deciding to play the right teams, the right players. So yeah, it's just a toss up, or it will just depend. Or Samsung fix their tiny issues with their comms, or if Najin plays the right players, then Najin will probably make 5. I don't think Ku has enough to. They also don't have enough points. Like I think it will determine a lot. But all 3 teams are gonna. As long as they keep beating Anarchy and Sbenu, they should. It all depends who beats each other, and they're gonna.
And
IM. And I am as well. But they've been doing that well. As long as they keep doing that, then they can all end up a pretty similar score. So I'm gonna say Samsung for now, but I think Najin is still they're way better in pure talents. But I don't know. Najin did nothing last splits with their talents, so I'm not positive that they would do now. They were doing the same shit last year, and it's even worse this split. They have one roster, but they're even refusing to swap one player out.
But they weren't the wrong players last year.
Yeah, but at least they played like Peanut sometimes and OQ sometimes, and then eventually they figured out OQ should stay. But I don't know. I don't have faith in the coaches of Najin. But if they do that, then Najin should barely creep into the playoffs, and then they can make a run for Worlds. But I don't know. Samsung,
I think it's really close between Najin and Samsung. I
Samsung,
just
yeah.
give it to Samsung right now.
I agree with you guys both. With Peter specifically too. Yeah, I think this next week is kind of be the real make it or break it, because Najin has to play 4 games now in the last 3 weeks. They play Sbenu, so if we see them change their roster and put Peanut in, it will probably be this series. So that'll be a good game to judge based on. And then they have the big game on Friday. The second set Friday is Najin versus Samsung. I think if they lose that, I think Samsung will make the playoffs and Najin won't, because the other games they have is Najin versus CJ, and then their last week is Najin versus Jin Air and Najin versus KT. So they have to play
Najin has still a chance.
the big boys.
In the second half, Najin can still win as well, and then they tie. So then it depends on.
I still think the Anarchy loss is going to come to haunt
Yeah, but
them.
they beat Ku. That's the difference. It doesn't matter because they beat Ku, and Najin and Samsung didn't. So it evens it out.
Samsung barely didn't, but yeah, they didn't.
Yeah, no, they did.
So.
I didn't like.
Najin barely didn't beat Anarchy. Okay, they should have won.
Well, yeah.
Tomorrow,
Yeah.
Najin will win.
But
yeah,
that win, like that loss to Anarchy actually doesn't matter because they were actually be able to beat Ku. It might matter, but it probably won't anymore.
I still think that probably is gonna come back to haunt them. I don't know. I still have. I think Samsung should be able to pull out the second go around, second round robin. I have faith that they have a chance to make it there.
If you don't have faith, then why the fuck are you here?
I have no faith that Najin can pick the right players. That's the true faith. Is I have faith that Najin coaches will continue to play watching Goon.
Sam shot GG.
So.
Well, maybe the LeBlanc nerf that's coming up, if they do it, then maybe they will finally realize they should stop playing Goon. That might actually help Najin. The LeBlanc
nerf. LeBlanc nerf.
Wait, guessing the nerf one.
Well, I mean, like a while ago, kind of. From the assassin style that Goon's used to playing.
Sure. But he still plays it, and still.
Yeah, he still does play it and does
still,
well.
Yeah, so that does just a point and advantage for Goon, even though he's not even that good on Gaston at all.
He just got a lot of kills.
His Cassiopeia game too was like, oh, he was in this game.
No, that Goon Cassidy game was set up him to see. He had a favourable mid lane matchup against a weaker team.
That's the point. Like, he looked good, even though actually he played that game really not great. But yeah, you can't lose when you're playing Castle versus LeBlanc and against that comp. Yeah. You can't lose when your team puts you ahead and you're playing against Sbenu. Like, it's impossible to do bad on Castle then. Well, he did for me, but that's because I paid attention to him. 908 or something. At least he didn't get MVP. That's something.
Yeah.
That was the upside. The one good thing.
Just like, I was so glad Crown didn't get the MVP against SKT.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been.
Yeah.
At all deserving.
It's weird.
The MVP voting. MVP. Yeah.
There's some fucking MVP votes.
Some of the votes are even questionable.
Oh god.
So let's move on to week 4. Is there a specific game each of you guys looking into? Do you think we should?
Wait, I don't know.
There's
what game?
The
first day. I think it's at 8 games, so I think they're gonna have 2 games on Thursday now.
Yeah, I checked. It's 2 games on Thursday.
So it's Sbenu, Najin, and then SKT versus Anarchy. It's Wednesday.
Skip.
It's still weird though that like Thursday starts massively earlier compared to every other day.
It's probably
Ridiculously
reasonable.
early.
Oh yeah, I just wake up like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Like,
It's 6.
oh, what's going on? Like,
It's pretty bad. And then Thursday is KT versus Ku. I versus Sbenu. I think we have yet to find a good game.
Yeah, skip.
Maybe KT versus Ku.
Well, if KT actually
I think KT
actually
is gonna rock
drafts
them.
good champions, then that should not be.
As long as KT doesn't pick Rengar.
Yeah, yeah.
If Rengar's not making an appearance, I think KT should be fine.
Yeah.
And then we have a great day, I would say, of games. CJ SKT and Najin Samsung.
That's gonna be
that's gonna be good.
That's gonna say a lot. But that day should be good.
And then we have Jin Air and Anarchy KT. So we've got a lot of garbage sandwiching in one great day.
Yeah.
It's a week of like this team should beat this team, this team should beat this team. So really, it's the ultimate test for a team. Really, like, can you beat an opponent you should beat? Because if you can't beat opponents you should beat, then you're never. It doesn't matter if you beat opponents you shouldn't beat, because these are wins that teams need to pick up. You know, Najin needs to beat Sbenu, SKT. It doesn't matter if they beat. They will beat Anarchy, whatever. KT need Ku Tigers.
Jin Air need to beat Ku.
Yeah, exactly.
KT has some.
I am need, but at the same time, like, Ku really need to beat KT and Jin Air. Like, and you know, they're fully capable of doing it, but they need to beat both those teams if they want to have any kind of shot of doing anything. Like,
well, and IM has to beat Sbenu.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if IM don't beat, I'm going to call them Prime because that's the real name. If IM don't beat Prime, then
the Sonic Booms.
Yeah, then they're fucked. Like, CJ, like, they could, like, you know, this is a good chance for CJ to properly prove themselves as well. If they can beat SKT, you know, that might kind of silence a lot of the haters like me, but I don't think they will.
Well,
it's a week of you need to beat this team. Don't fuck it up.
Like, last week was pretty much whether Ku, Jin Air, and IM going to make it's kind of, are they real? Because all three of them were not doing so great, and then pretty much only Jin Air came out with significant victories.
Yeah.
And this week, it's pretty much specific teams need to beat the other ones just to continue their path towards making it to Worlds. Yeah.
To playoffs.
Like, these are just games where you can't overlook them, but you should be winning them. And some of them significantly easy, like Cough versus Sbenu.
But then, some games should have to be won.
The Team Coast of Korea, if you can't beat them, you're really bad. Like,
I love how Monty even hyped them up a bit after their last game. Like, seriously, there's
against Jin Air.
Yeah, there's like Sbenu. Oh yeah, they're actually looking good. Like, no, they're not gonna win. And
nope.
Don't even bother giving them hope.
God, just remembering some of the players' names. The only one I remember is Catch and Vivid. Catch and Vivid. Catch because he always gets caught, and Vivid because he plays Nautilus and doesn't do a lot of quality hooks.
I remember Vivid and Nuclear.
Nuclear, yeah.
Well, I have the names up. There's Soul, Catch, Duet, Sasson, Dan, Nuclear, Secret, and Vivid.
I feel like I recognize Sassen's name from somewhere. Did he used to play like a Brazilian team or something? Like,
let me check it out. I have no idea.
I would,
because I know that Crown used to play on a Brazilian team.
Yeah.
Sasson does not have a page in esports speedy, so I have no idea who he is. I doubt he's played in any other game than for any other team, because he probably would have had that, because the Brazilian coverage does get picked up pretty well.
So,
I feel like Sasson has, like, he used to play on some team. But I've seen it. Maybe it was some like NLB.
It may have been someone. It may have been someone with the name Sasson, but not this particular Sasson. Because as we've established, there are teams like Jin Air who will name the same, like, have one name for 3 different players. One's a top laner, one's a mid laner, and one's the coach. So. It's almost like Zet Engine, or what he wanted was Jet Engine, but
Oh god.
Okay, well, do you guys have anything else left to throw out about week three's games or any other thing that caught your interest with Korean LoL in the past week?
Just to expand on this point about these large rosters that Korean teams are using, and how I think it's actually a serious detriment to the scene, and how like it's kind of this weird monopolization of talent by certain teams in certain roles that prevents other teams kind of, being really good. And how like I just want talent to just be more freely flowing around Korea for teams to actually progress. So easy.
So that we don't have a Sbenu?
Yeah, so easy should be going to Samsung. Like it's just certain like I mean top lane is always lacking in every region really. So you can't really fix the kind of the Kuvi problem on Samsung Galaxy that easily. But like Samsung have 3 mid laners and none of them are great. Like, but if they move, say, I mean, you look at the rosters. You've got GBM or Kuzan to Samsung, or easyhoon's the obvious one. That would solve a lot of problems. But is that going to happen? Who knows really. Ixu as well, the top laner for Anarchy used to be the top laner for KT Rolster in the pre-season, and then like KT had like another mid laner called Edge who played okay. Like, couldn't he move to like Samsung Galaxy? Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like Samsung needs to just this idea of talent not moving around enough in Korea hurts the scene overall. That's why Ku have to like scrap around the dirt for the new jungler. Like,
Kind of like
I think that the jungler spot's definitely the biggest trough, but I mean, if you look at the 5 teams that were seeded in this, like CJ, Ku, Jin Air, KT, Najin, and SKT, or the 6 teams, I mean, they're not bad top lane talent. Smeb's fallen off a bit, but I don't think he's as doom and gloom as he was before. I think he's just come back to earth from a really good split. Marin, for all of his mistakes, is improved warding and is still, what he can still go crazy. Duke is amazing. Trace has been great, but has fallen off a little bit since he's been able to pick like crazy top Morgana pick. Shy has always been significantly consistent, and some days finally begun to actually carry.
Yeah.
Like he's actually finally done what that team's needed, to have someone who's like, okay, I will go in and make those crazy stupid plays and carry.
But
I think one of the problems is like a lot of these teams are like harboring all this talent, but like they're not using them at all. And like I know some of it is like they want to develop some things, but like on the other hand, you have players like that they're pretty much never going to use or like pull out for against Sbenu. And so like if you're actively using these players for like strategical purposes and like trying to offset your opponents that way and like interchanging them maybe semi-consistently, like maybe I can see the merit in that, but otherwise there's not a lot of merit besides like preventing other teams from getting better, which raises the overall bar.
And I don't even think this idea of strategical, diverse switching up players is actually. I think it's been proven that it doesn't work. The only team that at all uses it successfully is SKT, and I still think it's detriment to their team.
I think it cost them MSI victory. Because easyhoon got banned out.
Second game.
They didn't expect it, and then easyhoon got banned out. It's like that doesn't happen to Faker. So what kind of strategic advantage do you have? Faker can play anything easyhoon can play, but more. I won't get that issues. Like, it doesn't help them because you know who's in the boots. So you know how to pick ban against him. Like, as long as you're prepared for it.
Yeah, it's not like
I think like easyhoon can maybe be like a good opener. Other than that, because here's the thing with Faker. Like Faker loves to play aggressively, and you can see teams will punish that. And like especially if that's not something that SKT want to do, but Faker just like continues to play aggro and try and like solo kill or do stuff, then he'll get caught out and killed, possibly over and over. And that's something that easyhoon doesn't do. So like there's the merit with easyhoon versus Faker, but you can't use easyhoon too much because otherwise you get just banned out or easily or.
But I don't even think he gets punished in that way, really, does he? Like, he's an aggressive player, but he's calculated.
Very, very very few times.
It feels like that's a weakness that they don't even need to begin to fix, really. Like,
Yeah,
It
there's other
isn't
weaknesses
really.
they should fix first. Cough, Bengi.
It isn't really.
look, you know, Bengi's still an okay player. You could sell him to another team, or you could, you know, whatever. But like, I think if Kessler put some rule onto LCK, which limited each team to only having one active sub, like say every 4 weeks, I think that would actually improve the scene and stop them harboring talent in other roles. You know, this era of Korean teams being able to have like 15-man rosters of like some of the most talented players, have playing like Hooney sitting on the bench. Like Hooney wasn't even a bench player; he was a fucking trainee. Like this era is gone. This is done. You know, move on. Like, you know. But teams don't seem to want to, kind of thing. Don't have the budget to sustain this anymore, and you're just hurting other teams because the talent is not as deep in Korea as it used to be, because 30 of the best players from Korea left. You know, so stop hogging
Like,
what good players you've got.
they're like supposed to be that secondary league,
Yeah,
but like
It's not being.
no one's using
I haven't
that.
really, I haven't heard anything about that from Kefka's tweets, as if
No.
if it's even being played or not.
I know, like I have no idea. Like they were like, oh hey, we're gonna have this secondary team where like teams can have a secondary roster and like they'll compete this way, and it'll be separate from Korean Challenger. And like I've heard absolutely nothing about it. Like
Yeah, the only things I've heard about
team,
it
the
is
only
the
team I've heard
Challenger.
of that has like a secondary team, like a
CJ.
full secondary team, is CJ.
Yeah, CJ.
That's pretty much it. Like,
yeah. It's just frustrating, kind of thing.
To me, the easyhoon seems like Sony Pictures remade Spider-Man just so they could keep like the rights to Spider-Man. Though it was a garbage, like they made the Amazing Spider-Man because they're like, wait a minute, these superhero thingies are getting real great. Don't we have one of those? Yeah, remember the one with the black Spider-Man where he got all crazy and went Venom, and it was like he did crazy cool antic? No, that was terrible. But we want to hold on to the rights, so let's reboot it and make a new garbage movie.
Yeah.
And that seems like them going, oh, let's play easyhoon this game,
But
so that no one can call us out for just not letting him play.
But to use another analogy to that same effect, like Marvel won't make new Fantastic Four characters because they don't own the film rights to Fantastic Four. Like, you know, they'll hurt their own franchises in order to hurt somebody else financially. Like, so is this not the same thing? Like, you know, oh, we won't tell you this good mid laner because then you might become a good team. But if you're actually confident about your ability to become a good team, then it wouldn't matter how good the enemies are. No, fuck that logic. I'd rather just win career all the time. Like, you know, it's
Well, that goes into the whole saying of the best of one preparing. You're going to prepare strategies for these people. No, you should be preparing a strategy that you guys can play and play it well, because you're playing a best of fucking one.
Yeah.
You don't prepare for the enemy. You just prepare to not. You prepare yourself to learn 3 or 4 different strategies that you can execute perfectly.
And Korean teams should be aiming to win worlds, not just to, you know, like beat each other all the time. Like. And
it doesn't feel like Korea is preparing to try and win world. It just feels like they're trying to beat Korea or beat SKT.
Well,
and SKT doesn't extremely feel like they're like trying to like do that either. Just like, hey, let's just win Korea.
Yeah, I think SKT just feels comfortable.
Yeah.
But
I
they're being.
think
pretty
SKT thinks they feel fine.
I think they are fine, but they're being dicks by keeping easyhoon locked up in a cage and sometimes letting him play a game for 54 minutes.
I will say this is good news though. There has, in the off season between spring and summer, we heard rumors of Duke going to World Elite and of Coco going to. It was Unlimited Potential, I think. Neither of those happened. You know, no.
Thank goodness, because Duke going to World Elite would make me even more sad, because they would just be Spirit and Duke prison instead of just Spirit prison.
But like, my point is that like, have we got to the point where players in Korea won't leave Korea anymore? You know, like, or at least, you know, that's another great exodus.
I think the turning point may have been Vici Gaming.
Yeah,
because it just, from what I've heard from watching China Talk and just seeing what tweets are and a couple interviews, it does not seem like Mata is having an exceptionally fun time losing with Beachy Gaming.
He
And now
shows
that
it in
Carrie,
game as well.
Oh yeah.
now that Carrie has
Did
left
you
the
read that
team
Q&A?
and Dandy has to play top,
No.
it seems like it's completely falling
Yeah,
apart.
what's that even
Dandy
about?
top.
Insect's been playing top as well. I don't know what's going on, but my point is
Did
that like
before.
teams aren't
Yeah.
players. Like the move left an LSPL team to join Gravity. Like they didn't look to Korea to get a new jungler. They looked to the LSPL, where there's objectively more Korean players in the LSPL than there is in LCK. Like my point is that it's good and refreshing in a sense that Korean starters aren't leaving Korea anymore, because that would be almost the nail in the coffin.
Well, it seems like a lot of the Koreans in China are like expressing that like they don't like it there.
Well, of course, the food.
There's
Yeah.
some of
the
them.
biggest thing is like the food.
The food is
They
a huge
hate
thing.
it.
That's the number one thing.
The food is a
Food,
huge thing.
air.
I don't know. You have the EDG Korean members who are fine. You have it seems like the IG and LGD. Like it seems like it's completely dependent on the team, which is obvious, because if you have a poor management that's not help, like if you complain about the food and you don't like it and your managers aren't helping you like try and get food that you like or will enjoy, of course you're not gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, it's indicative of a larger problem. But no, I just it's some things. Korea's looking up, and I think the Korea's improving all the time. But it's still a big state of healing.
I think the entire Korea, League of Legends scene took a huge, massive nosedive when it came to skill when the Koreans left, and that we're just seeing it come back. And the issue being though is that some of the Chinese experiments are succeeding, and other ones seem to be completely tanking.
Well, I think there's two LPL teams that don't have Koreans on them. So in a sense, some of them have to tank. Some of them have to be shit, because for some of them, they're good.
There's a difference between being shit and there's a difference between being shit and being competitive but losing. Like being a weaker team but playing. You could see them. Why just got played there? And then you're saying, why is Dandy, who is literally probably one of the two greatest junglers of the past year and a half plus, playing top lane?
Yeah, it's a mystery. It just brings Danny back for his glorious return back to Korea, and him to get behind Eve, boot him out of the chair, and be like, "I'm taking over, motherfucker. Let's do this."
There's better jungler slots. There's worse junglers that are starting that he could kick out. Back off, Ambition, back off, Hojin, back off, Bengi.
Yeah,
I would replace all of those before I replace Eve.
But it just. Yeah, it's not all doom and gloom in Korea. Some teams are looking better all the time, and some players aren't choosing to leave Korea. We might even get to the point where some players choose to return. Would be nice.
I don't think we'll see much of a return until after Worlds.
Yeah, that'll be. I think that's when a lot of contracts will run out and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I think most are smart enough to get a 1-year contract after Worlds, so they're kind of stuck.
The question being, though, do you think they're going to come back to Korea or try to go somewhere else?
I think some of them will inevitably return to Korea.
I think
the thing is, the problem about moving back to Korea is that they have to get offers to move back. And I mean, some of them probably will, but from reading what Mana is saying, people don't actually want him in Korea, or that's what it seemed like.
But then, you look at Flame.
I mean, hopefully when contracts expire, that'll change around. But
but then
I'm hoping
there's all those players rotting on LSBL teams, for example.
Yeah.
They all played on Korean teams before. They left because the money was there, and they thought they.
I wouldn't say they're rotting. I would.
Pinyata? Okay, there.
I think quite a few of the LSPL teams could. Am I lagging?
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
You went full potato.
Am I still here?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay.
Well,
uh-oh. Fine. I'll just reset the camera. I still think a lot of the LSPL teams are good enough to take up some of the lower EU and NALCS. I mean, some of the LSPL teams are not as bad. It's not a secondary league. It's actually pretty competitive and pretty decent.
Yeah.
But that's not the point I think he's trying to make.
It's a waste to see some of these players. Like, it's a waste to see Save, who was, the best top laner last year on an LSPL team. It's a waste to see, Fly. It's a waste to see Flame. It's a waste to see, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Some of these players deserve better. They deserve a chance to compete internationally, and playing on an LSPL team removes your ability to compete internationally entirely. It might be a professional league, but it's very the goal of it is to get into
Save was going to play.
Pardon?
Yeah.
I think like the higher skilled guys, they will if they go away from China, they won't go to EU or something, or Brazil or NA. Like the higher skilled ones, they want to try to go for Worlds and go to Korea, like see if they can, or at least if they get good offers.
I don't think they'd go to. They may go to LCS.
Really?
It just depends though, because the only thing with LCS is slowly all the spots of like all the immigrant spots are like getting filled up, and so
that's true.
Well, they just did the big old renewal where you got to get
you got to declare a region. Right?
Yeah,
so
you got to declare a region.
The players that were casted, they considered what was it like?
Exempt non-residents,
but weren't residents.
Exempt non-residents.
Yeah, and now all residents basically. So TSM can theoretically field 2 more foreign players if they wanted to.
TSM Flame, please.
No, what you just died.
Yep.
Pretty much. Good.
But no, and a lot of players. So since there's more spots open up, I mean, especially.
Okay, well, I mean, I think we can. It's been quite a long episode.
Yeah, maybe we should just close off now. Yeah, it's completely dying out.
Yeah.
Am
I lagging? Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Thank you for the show, everyone. It's been fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been good.
Thanks for coming, Mikey. Glad you're finally here, Sam. We'll hopefully see you next week as well. Should be no problem, right? So yeah, I'll close up. Simpiad is completely dead right now. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks Michael for being here. And yeah, and hopefully see you guys next week again with Sam as well, and new guests.